Several different weapons, both rifles and handguns, have been dubbed the gun that won the West, like the Colt 1873 Peacemaker, a 45 caliber 6-shot revolver, the Winchester Model 1866 Yellowboy lever-action repeating rifle, so named for its shiny brass frame, or today's main focus, the Winchester Model 1873 lever-action repeating rifle. Let's find out more about this special gun, including how it works. The gun that won the West. Some believe the Winchester Model 1873 is widely known as the gun that won the West purely because there were so many made. With a production run of more than 720,000 in 50-plus years, anyone who wanted one could buy one. And that meant a lot of these rifles went west with those brave enough to pack up and head off into parts. The steel frame Model 1873 was made as a musket, equals a 30-inch round barrel smoothbore not rifled. According to Winchester, there were only around 500 of these produced. Though the 1873 couldn't handle the more powerful cartridges used by the single-shot rifles of the time, we're thinking 14 shots before reloading versus 1 made it worth the trade-off. Originally chambered for the 44-40 cartridge, a 44 caliber bullet propelled by 40 grains of black powder, the Model 1873 was later produced in 38-40 and 32-20, all of which were popular handgun cartridges of the day. This was important. If your handgun and your rifle used different size ammunition, you had to carry 2 sizes and you ran the risk of not having enough of what you needed. But if your belt guns and your saddle gun all used the same cartridge, you just dug into the saddlebag and started stuffing in bullets. That could help get your hero out of a really tight spot. However, if you're going to have your hero or heroine or villain carry 2 weapons that share ammunition, remember that the original Model 1873 was not made to use the 45 caliber Colt cartridge used in the very popular Colt Peacemaker. But that doesn't mean a Colt and a Winchester never shared ammunition. The popularity of the Winchester in 44-40 caliber had Colt manufacturing a version of the single-action Army Peacemaker revolver that could use the Winchester's ammunition. This ensured the success of the Winchester rifle. Road to success. Hollywood made a feature film about it. Buffalo Bill declared it to be the boss. Winchester called it simply the new model of 1873. The rifle came from a dingy brick factory in New Haven, Connecticut, the product of men and women who worked in an inferno of noise for $600 a year, 11 hours a day on weekdays, 10 hours on Saturdays. It was a raging success from the beginning, and although it was rapidly outmoded, the Model 1873 was so popular that it remained in production for 52 years. In all, 720,610 of the rifles were made. The 73 was more than a rifle model. It became an American symbol. As gun writer Ned CROSSMAN stated in 1920, the 1873 was the rifle that put the name Winchester on the map of the West, trotting along with the equally formidable Colt gun at the belt of the frontiersman. The unstoppable lever action. Ironically, we wouldn't consider the Winchester 1873 much of a rifle by today's standards. Historian Mike Venturino owns and shoots 3 original 73s. It's a 150-yard rifle chambered for a dinky little handgun cartridge, Venturino says. About the best I can do with my 73s is 3-inch groups at 100 yards, and beyond that, the sights are too coarse for any kind of accuracy. What the 73 did have was firepower. Aiming carefully, I can fire 15 shots in 60 seconds. That's what made the rifle so popular, even when there were more accurate, more powerful guns available. And in any era when many guns were fussy and unreliable, the 73 was just about unstoppable. It would not let you down ever. Evolution of the Winchester Model 1873. For 400 years, men whose lives depended on firearms had only one pull of the trigger to save themselves. In the 15 to 30 seconds it took to reload a flintlock or a percussion arm, your time on Earth could come to an end. Samuel Colt solved part of the problem. His revolvers were formidable weapons, but they were accurate only at very close range and thus arms of the last resort. It was not until the Civil War that practical repeating rifles appeared. Notable among them was a graceful brass-framed 44 caliber lever gun called the Henry after its inventor, B. Tyler Henry. It was made by the New Haven Arms Company, formed by Oliver F. Winchester. The Henry was astounding. It held 16 44 Henry flat rimfire cartridges, and a good shooter could crank them off like a drum roll. The Henry awed the Confederates, and when it went west after the war, it terrified the Indians who came up against it. In 1866, New Haven Arms' name was changed to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, and the Henry was succeeded by an improved version called the Model 66. The 66 was successful, but it was chambered for the same weak cartridge. The new model of 1873. It was obvious to Oliver Winchester that a new design was needed, matched to a centerfire cartridge that would give his gun greater power and range. His concept became the new model of 1873. Very close to the Henry in appearance, it had improved mechanics. The old brass frame was replaced by a stronger iron one, later changed to steel. A standard Model 73 held 15 rounds in a tubular magazine beneath the barrel. Its new cartridge was the 4440 Winchester, and seldom has a round of ammunition been so well matched to a rifle. Employing a 44 caliber 200 grain bullet propelled by 40 grains of black powder, it achieved a muzzle velocity of about 1200 FPS. The 73 received a huge boost from Remington and Colt, who began chambering their revolvers for the 4440. This eliminated the need to carry one kind of ammunition for a rifle and another for a handgun. The Winchester took care of business from 150 yards to arm's length. When matters got to that point, you pulled your 6-gun. In the late 19th century, firearms were made by hand as much as by machine, so factories could build a gun almost any way you wanted. You could get a Winchester 1873 in sporting rifle, special sporting rifle, or carbine models, or as a military musket with magazine capacities ranging from 6 to 17. There were 3 barrel lengths and 3 types of barrel contour to choose from. Winchester offered at various times flat or curved butt plates, straight or pistol grips, fancy wood, fancy checkering, and engraving. Until 1880, when the company added the 38 W.C.F. and the 32 W.C.F. 2 years after that, the gun was chambered for 4440 alone. In the whole history of the 73, that was it. Shooters loved the 4440, and Winchester saw little need to change anything else. The men who owned the Winchester 1873. Buffalo Bill carried a Model 1873 and a pair of 4440 Colts when he scouted for the Army in 1876. An Arizona sheriff named John Slaughter, was ever a lawman more aptly named, doted on a Model 73 carbine. Forensic ballistics have revealed that Native Americans used 8 Model 73s at the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876. The Apache leader Geronimo's brother-in-law Yanhoza and son Chapo carried 73s. Frank James, brother of Jesse, used a 73. These are the men of whom we know. The others who swore by their Winchesters carried them as they lived and died, anonymously. The Winchester Model 1873 has become the rifle of the Old West and has come to symbolize that place and time. But the people who bought it did not think in such exalted terms. To them, the 73 was simply a rifle you could trust with your life. How it works. In the diagram shown now, we can see just how the action works. The lever is pushed forward, moving the toggle link, which retracted the firing pin and breech bolt, allowing a round to feed into the breech from the tube magazine beneath the barrel. When the lever is returned ready to fire, the breech block and firing pin push the round into the chamber, and the rifle is cocked. Once the trigger is pulled, the hammer strikes the firing pin, igniting the cartridge. The lever is then pushed forward again, and the extractor and ejector expel the spent cartridge and allow a new round to enter the chamber. That's all for this video, folks. See you another time.